Friends versus Friends. This is an FPS game where you start with a lot of cards in your hand and you use those cards to gain advantages in the round. First to get 3 kills wins. Now this game has a lot of characters, all with their own special abilities, and in this video I'm going to be putting these guys to the test to see which character is the best in Friends vs. Friends. Alright, now before we start, I would like to say I have tried all the characters out. I do have all the characters, alright? Like, I'm not missing out on anything. I've tried all these guys out. That being said, I haven't played the same amount of matches with some of these guys, but I have tried them all out, so that's all that really matters. I'm going to be rating these characters on a few aspects. Starting off, 1, I'm going to rate these guys based on how good they are just standalone. Like, just using this character, no extra cards, no nothing. Just the character. After that, I'm going to see how good the character is when you make a deck themed around them, because a lot of characters thrive with that. After I get the average of those 2 scores, I'll just find where it would fit in the tier list based on the other characters. And I would like to say I do have a tier list ready. Now, this is not my final tier list, trust me. I just found this online. It's pretty good. I think it has all the characters here, so I'll just move these guys around based on how good they are. Alright, now, first character we're going to be reviewing is Spike Remington. Now, this guy, he's not that crazy, if I'm being honest with you. All he really does, I mean, it says on the right, your bullets deal more damage. He just does a bit more damage. It's not that good of a thing. Now, it does mean that in a 1v1, if you have good aim, you'll win, but it doesn't do that much. Alright, I just looked it up. It is a 1.12x damage increase. Obviously isn't the best, because you're not going to be doing much more damage with it. That being said, he's not that bad on his own, but there's no real way to build a deck around him. And because of all that, I think I'm going to put Spike Remington in B tier. He's pretty good on himself and will win in a lot of 1v1s, but you can't build a deck around him and he'll just fall off, I feel like. Alright, next character, Moose Salto. Now, Moose Salto starts with every round with a double jump. And from what I've seen, the double jump she gets is permanent. While double jump at base just seems like a pointless upgrade, it's actually very, very helpful when you consider how important positioning is. Being able to get on top of your opponents, around them, flank them, is insanely helpful. And she can make full use of that with her ability. So not only is she good standalone, but she can also do pretty well when you build a deck around her. Some cards that work well would probably be Boomstick, Invisible, and Predator Vision. Now, because of all of this, I'm going to put her in A tier. Alright, next character is Duck Anderson. Now, Duck Anderson, his ability doesn't really tell you what it does. It adds a green herb card to your hand every round. This card heals you. And its healing is surprisingly good. It's a 40 health heal, which might not seem like that much, but it's a lot. This means that you essentially have 190 max health unless they have a counter card, which not many people bring. He is really, really good standalone. I mean, he's a tank. He can tank like a lot of hits before he dies. If you just bring a ton of cards that heal you, like Health Up, Medkit, Vampire Bullets. I did not buy the DLC for this. And maybe even like Love Letter. I feel like all those would just make you like an unkillable tank. Now, because of all those reasons, I think that Duck Anderson deserves our first S tier. Now, he is super good standalone, and if you think about it, he has basically the most tank opportunity in the game out of any character. Alright, next we got DJ Newton. Now, DJ Newton starts every round with more accuracy. Now, the accuracy, it's not really stated how much it is, but it's safe to assume that it's a pretty decent amount. This means that DJ Newton is pretty good just standalone, but she pairs well with cards like Albatross, Bullet Time. To be fair, really any weapon, now that I think about it. Yeah, no, really any weapon would work pretty well with her. Now, the only really bad thing about DJ Newton is if you can't hit your shots, you can't really do any damage to him. And while, yeah, you have more accuracy, I feel like accuracy isn't really the issue most of the time when I'm playing this game. Normally the time is just me completely not even aiming at the person. Now, because of all this, I am putting DJ Newton in B tier. Good standalone, but honestly, its ability just isn't the best. Alright, next up, we have Donnie B. Donnie B starts every single round with more max health. Now, this might seem like a great ability, but they only start with 30 extra HP. And if you remember Duck Anderson's ability, he can heal 40 every round. This means that Donnie B's ability is literally just Duck Anderson's ability, but worse. Now, to be fair, you can counter Duck Anderson's ability with a counter card, but most of the time that's not going to happen. And while, yeah, sure, she has great survivability and can definitely tank a decent amount of hits, Duck Anderson is just better than her. There's also not many cards that would work well with just more max health, as it's such a basic ability that I'm gonna have to put her in A tier. Under Duck Anderson, just because her healing ability is just a bit worse. Next up, we have Stevie Gold. His ability is to start each round with the Golden Borea. I think I'm actually gonna go for the gun range for this one. As you can see, if we have the normal Borea, it does 13 damage per body shot, while the Golden Borea does 14. This is obviously such a tiny difference, but if we just put the range up to 35 meters, now the Borea is doing 11, but the Golden Borea is still doing 14. Now, from what I've seen when I use this character, his Golden Borea deals almost max damage all the time. The only time that I've ever seen him do less than 14 is at insane distances when I hit a body shot. This means that he is great on the start damage, but you can't really build a deck around just starting with a better gun most of the time. It's just a basic mid-range pistol that does a bit more damage than the basic one, but it's still a good starter character. Now, because of all that, I think Stevie Gold deserves to go into A tier. He's a great character, but again, starting with a better version of a starter weapon isn't the best all the time. Next up, Roberto Mulligan. Now, Roberto Mulligan has a pretty basic ability: copy your rival's personality. This essentially means that they copy whatever character's traits your opponent has. So if you're playing against someone that has Spike Remington, you would get the ability. DJ Noon, you'd get their ability. Now, this might seem okay at the start, but honestly, it's not really that good all the time. It just means that your deck most of the time won't pair with your ability very well, which isn't really that helpful most of the time, as you want your deck to pair with your character's ability. This added RNG, it's fun and it's unique, but if I'm being honest, it's not that good. Also, it's completely luck-based what character the other player is playing. They could just be playing a horrible character and you get a horrible ability, or they could be playing an insane character and you get that ability. It fully changes based on what character they're using, and because of that, I'm putting them in C tier. I just feel like the RNG element isn't very helpful, and most of the time it's going to hurt more than help. Next up, Cluster Jr. Cluster Jr. starts with 2 turrets. Now, these turrets, while they don't do much damage, they're certainly scary when you're getting shot by. This means that he can essentially lock down any open area, and it just adds 2 extra threats that the opponent has to deal with. To be fair, I haven't played much of this character, but from the stuff I have played with him, it's not that insane. The 2 turrets don't have much health, and the damage that leaves much to be desired. But the fear factor they induce is a lot, because the turrets also act as almost trackers. If you put them in the middle of the map, they will alert where your opponent is, just because of where you hear damage and see damage markers. And if you build an entire deck of this guy with just turrets, it's very fun to use. Now, some cards that work great with this guy are Cat Turret, both the walls, Kaboomer, and Dr. Molebot, and maybe even Laser Fence if it's a high enough level that it's useful. For this character, all you have to do is throw it on your turrets and just camp the entire round while your opponent stresses with them as you just shoot them. That being said, the turrets don't do that much damage, but they're still very good. Because of that, I think I'm going to move Cluster Jr. in A tier. Alright, next up, we have Haru. Haru's ability is pretty simple. You move faster. Faster is 10% faster. This means that you can not only outrun opponents, but you can get into cover quicker, you can flank them easier. It just makes positioning way more easy. Now, when you're building a deck for this character, you should prioritize close range weapons like the Deep Fryer, Grasshopper, and Boomstick. And I cannot forget about the Katana. And the other cards that you should use if you do only close range weapons, definitely bring move slower, and maybe even double jump and move faster if you really want to be mean. And definitely Energy Drink. Definitely bring Energy Drink. This character is probably one of the easiest characters to build a deck around, as its ability is so open-ended yet specific. I don't even play Haru that much, but I love this character. And because of all that, I'm putting Haru in S tier. Alright, next up we got Little Lars. Little Lars is an interesting character to say the least. He's one of the only characters in the game that get 2 abilities. All these other characters can have their abilities used by 1 card. You need 2 cards to do this one. Also, it's explosions. This means that building a deck around this guy is so easy. All you do is slap together every single explosive card in the game. I'm just gonna speedrun list all of them because there's so many. President has a chance to give you explosive cards. Bomb, Bomb Belt, Landmine, Sticky Bomb, Kaboomer, Bomb Lover, Hot Potato, and Dice Bomb. Oh yeah, and that's not even mentioning the insane combo of Akimbo and the Puncher. If you get both those cards, you essentially just win the round. There's so many explosive cards in the game, just slap all those in a deck and you can play this guy pretty easily. You can just output so much consistent damage, even if they're hiding behind walls, it's just ridiculous. Now the one downside of this guy is if you don't have any explosive cards in your hand, you're probably done. Like, you can't really do much if you don't have explosive cards because his whole ability is explosives. Now, I might be a bit biased because I do love this character, but I'm going to put this guy in S tier. Just because if you build the right deck, he is so insane. Next up, we have, I'd like to say Mark Raver or Mike Raver. I'm not sure what that is. We'll just call him Raver. He starts each round with the Brass Hopper. The Brass Hopper is just a close range SMG. This is the Brass Hopper. Close range, it does 6 damage at a max. But as you get further back, it starts to do significantly less damage. That being said, it is a full auto with a high mag capacity, which means that on base, you get pretty good firepower if you can get close up to them. Some cards that work great with this character are Invisible, Akimbo, both the Ninja Smokes, Bullet Time, Poison Bullets, Empty Mag. Your goal with this character is essentially just to get as close as you can and just spray and pray. Now, I don't like spray and pray characters that much, but I can't deny that he does have great damage output close ranged. The only issue with this character is that he's very map dependent. There are some maps where you just stay far ranged almost the entire time, and if you get a map like that, you're probably not gonna win. Because of that, he's a bit luck based, just based on the map. Now, I do feel bad putting him here, but I'm gonna put him in B tier. The next character is Sabel Santana. Now, Sabel Santana starts with a katana every single round. Now, this is the katana. The way that this works, you can block with the katana, and you can block 8 bullets with it, and after you block those 8 bullets, you need to reload. Now, when you block a bullet, it doesn't do 0 damage. It still does some damage, but the damage is heavily reduced. The damage of the katana is 40 on a body shot, and it has a bit of a 3 combo, but the combo doesn't really mean anything. It's just for looks. That being said, the katana does have some pretty good reach. As you can see, I'm pretty far from the target, and I'm still doing like decent damage. Now, something cool about this character is that you can build a deck around her pretty easily. Some cards that work great are Sly Shooter, Shrinking Spell, Ninja Smoke and Ninja Log, Frozen Gun, Silent Steps, Predator Vision, Empty Mag, and Invisible. Of course, there's also like energy drink and speed stuff, but there's a lot of cards that do that, so I'm just not going to mention them. Yeah, with this character, the only cards you should bring in a deck are cards that increase your speed, heal you up, or make you invisible. Because all you're trying to do is get behind your opponent and just hit them as much as you can before you start getting shot at. Because again, once you start getting shot at, especially if they have like the Brass Hopper or some really fast firing weapon, you can't do much against it. Again, you have 8 bullets that you can block before you're out. This means it does counter long-range weapons like the Albatross very well, but all other weapons just can pretty consistently hit shots on her. Now, this is probably one of the more fun characters to play, and I feel bad putting her here, but I'm going to put her in C tier. Just because bringing a knife to a gunfight is not a good thing. Or a katana in this case, I guess. Alright, next up, we got Margarita Kala. Margarita Kala has a strange thing where it's combo 3 same color cards to trigger an effect. Now, what this means is when you look in your deck, right, you can see this is green, this is red, this is purple, this is blue. If you play 3 of these cards in a row, you get an effect based on what kind of card that is. If I'm being completely honest, most of these aren't that good. For instance, the green cards, which are essentially upgrade cards, when you use 3 of them in a row, they heal you for 40 HP, which is the same as Duck Anderson's heal. Red cards, which are the negative cards that impact your opponent, reduce enemy bullet damage by 12%. If you use 3 weapons in a row for some reason, it triggers the Akimbo. Any blue cards that spawn stuff will give you 2 bombs, and if you use 3 wild cards in a row, they set off a nuke. And trap cards also put a mirror card into play. Now, this character might be okay, but honestly, the fact that you need to play 3 of the same type of card in a row is a bit ridiculous. Because the thing is, why would I need to play 3 weapon cards in a row if I only need 1 weapon? I will probably only need to play 1 in a round. This means, while yeah, it's pretty obvious how to synergize, and its abilities are okay, honestly, it's just not that good. It's really just because of the fact that you have to play 3 of the same kind of card. Because, again, if you play 3 weapons in a row, you probably won't need to akimbo it. Or if you play 3 sabotage cards, your opponent is probably so nerfed that they won't need to really have 14% less bullet damage. Okay, I might be missing something here, but I think this character is the first F tier. Look, she just isn't that good on start, and her ability isn't that okay. It's fine, but most of the time it's not going to be very helpful. And because of that, yeah, F tier. Alright, next up we got Dale Donovan. Now, his ability is literally just a copy of a card, detect rival traits, and do more damage to them from behind. Or trails, oh my. Detect rival trails and do more damage to them from behind. Now, this essentially means that you can see your rival's footprints as they're walking. Which means that, yeah, you can follow them pretty well, but why would you need to follow them? You're probably just going to see them anyway. And footsteps sounds exist, so seeing their footsteps on the ground is only really helpful if they use silent steps, or maybe, like, invisible. Now, that whole, like, detect rival trails isn't that good of an ability, but his deal more damage to them from behind is good. From what I've seen, this ability with the deal more damage from behind can stack on top of a crit. This means that you can do a lot of damage to opponents just from hitting them from the back. Now, while, yeah, you probably won't have the many opportunities to do that, it's very, very good when you can. Some cards that work great with this guy are Invisible, Bullet Time. Basically, all the weapons that actually shoot bullets will actually help you a lot with this guy. Sorry, Puncher. Also, both the Ninja Log and Ninja Smoke are pretty good for this guy. But that's really it. I mean, sure, his ability is pretty good, and the fact that he gets 2 abilities instead of 1 is a very helpful addition. But if I'm being honest, it's just not enough. Sure, when you get behind your opponent, they're probably dead, but they're probably going to be dead either way. Now, I might regret this, but I think I'm going to put this guy at B tier. I just don't think he's that useful in most cases, and I don't think he deserves any lower than that. Alright, now we're at the FKF Dingo characters. This guy includes 7 characters, all in the form of different skins. We're going to start with the default. This guy, FKF Dingo, he just starts the round with garbage. By garbage, it means 3 garbage cards that do nothing. Now, one might think that this ability sucks, but if you think about it, and you think about the synergies you can pull off with this, it's actually a good character. I'm just gonna try to explain some of these cards because it took me a while to realize this character was actually okay. And if you're working on grinding the rest of the characters through playing like 80 games with this guy, then this might be helpful for you. Some cards that work insanely well with this guy are... Alright, now, there's a few cards that this guy works very well with, and I'm just gonna say them and explain why they work so well. Lottery Ticket. This one, you only are really going to use it for the scrap cards that you can get. Bomb Lover. If you get this thing, you can throw 4 bombs, because you use the card that throws a bomb, and then you can throw 3 scrap cards, which all throw bombs. This means you can get a lot of bombs down, and if you pair this with like the bigger explosions, that gets really good. The other card that works really well with this guy is Reroll. By swap your hand for a new one, it means discard all cards in your hand, and draw the amount of cards that you discarded. This means that you can basically just draw 3 free cards every single round. Now, of course, you will run out of your deck pretty fast if you use this when you have a big enough hand, and that has happened to me multiple times. So you do have to be careful, but it is so insane when you draw like your entire deck in one singular turn. Now, I might be stupid for this, but this guy's synergies are really good, if you think about it. Especially Bomb Lover, that synergy is crazy. Because if you get ideal conditions, you can throw 9 bombs in one singular round. With bigger explosions, your opponent is in for a lot of damage. Now, it might be ridiculous to put him here, but I think I'm going to put him in B tier. Because if you use the synergies correctly, this guy can actually outperform a lot of people. Alright, now the first character you unlock. You have to play 10 games with this guy to unlock the next character. It is Cararo. Cararo just has Venom Eater. Poison heals you. Now, if I'm being honest, this could be a great ability, but if your opponent sees you playing as this guy, they're just not going to use poison cards. Because they know, oh, poison just doesn't work. But, nevertheless, I'm going to say some cards that do work well with him. Now, unfortunately, there's only like 2 that work too well with him, but I'm still going to say them. Starting off with Present. There is a very low chance that Present can give you and your opponents the Grasshopper card and the Poison Bullets card. If it does that, you basically win because every time they shoot you, you heal. Alright, the next card is Toxic Bomb. You chuck this at the ground, your opponent 1 can't see you, and 2 you constantly heal. They also can't enter the Toxic Bomb for the same effect, meaning that it's actually pretty helpful. Now, of course, that is only 2 cards that work well with this guy, and the chance of your opponent not knowing what this guy does and using a poison card is super low. Now, because of all this, I'm gonna have to unfortunately put him in a D tier. It's kind of sad, but honestly, his ability just isn't good enough. There's not enough cards that do stuff with poison. Alright, next character is Jawara Farms. Jawara Farms' ability just says protects your head. Essentially what this means is that when you get shot in the head, it doesn't count as a headshot, it just counts as a body shot. Now, this ability is okay, but if I'm being honest, it doesn't do that much all the time. Because what? They shoot you and in the head and you take a bit less damage? It's honestly just not that helpful. Now, to be fair, they are basically immune to the bigger head thing because they do not take extra damage based on headshots, but there's just not much synergy potential. Yay, your head gets protected. What else? I mean, there's not much opportunity to make a deck around it. And sure, it's pretty good off start, but honestly, I don't think it does that much. And sure, it can counter some characters' abilities pretty well, especially abilities like bullet time, for instance, where your opponent will be aiming for headshots. It does work very well against that, but almost in every other situation, it's just not going to help that much. Now, to be fair, she's good at start, and because of that, I'm putting her in C tier. Her ability just doesn't do enough. Alright, next character, Laika. Laika's ability just says 2 bullets at the end of the barrel. This essentially means that they start with a Laika card with a max mag size at 2. Now, I personally love this character just because of how much damage the Laika can do. Some cards that work great with this character are Big Head, More Accuracy, Bullet Time, and Berserker. Berserker especially, just because you deal 60% more damage. This means that you can basically like 3-tap people, and if you get a card like Quick Reload, you can shred people so fast. Now, the one bad thing about this character is if your opponent happens to have like small mag, then you basically lose. Because small mag at a high level makes it so that you just have only 1 bullet. This is atrocious, obviously. And if they pair it with like slower reload time or empty mag, then like, yeah, no, you're done. It's still a great character though, because on start, it does a lot more damage than anyone else. I mean, it did so much damage they had to nerf it by only giving it 2 bullets. Now, the only bad part about this character is you have to have good aim to use them. I mean, if you have bullet time, you do have good aim, but you have to have okay aim to use this person. This means if you don't have good aim, which I know a lot of people don't, and I'm not judging you for that, but if you don't have good aim, this character isn't really going to be good for you. But because of how much I love this character and how you can synergize with it, I'm going to put it in S tier. And yeah, okay, I know some people don't have good aim and it would really be bad on them, but if you have good aim, try this character, it's very fun. Alright, our next character is Duper. Now, Duper starts with a Berserker card every single round. As shown before, all Berserker does is increase damage taken, but also increases damage dealt. Now, some cards that work well with this guy are Albatross, Boomstick, both the Ninja Log and Ninja Smoke, and Invisible. All you're really trying to do is get to your opponent as quick as possible without them seeing you, and then you just attack them as much as you can. You will die pretty fast with this guy, but if you have good accuracy, again, this is an accuracy-based character. If you don't have good accuracy, you're gonna probably not be good at him. But if you do have good accuracy, this will be a great character, simply because you do a lot of extra damage when you have Berserker activated. Now, I personally haven't played much with this character, but I will say, from the stuff I have played with him, he is pretty good if I can hit my shots. If my opponent uses like Tiny, or really anything that makes it so I can't hit them as well, I basically always lose. That being said, Berserker is a great card with a lot of synergies with weapons. Also Laika. Laika's a great card. I forgot to mention that one, but there's basically every weapon card that does a lot of damage, he's good with. Now, because of his predictability with how he's going to do every single round, and the fact that he's just generally strong, I'm going to put him in A tier. Alright, 2 more characters left. The next one is, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, QTPI. Now, this character starts with an energy drink card every single round. Energy drink does increase movement speed, accuracy, reload speed for a decent amount of time. Now, this character is pretty deck dependent, I'm going to admit. Like, it doesn't work that well with every deck, but it does work well in a lot. Essentially, the cards that you want to bring are running gun cards. So for instance, the Boomstick, the FK, and the Grasshopper would all be great cards with this character. This character is very good if you like the Spray and Pray. I don't like the Spray and Pray that much, but I understand why you would like Spray and Pray. It's fun to just be able to run at a person and spray until you win. Now, the fact that you also start with this card every round does make it pretty predictable on what you're going to be able to do, and it's a generally good card too. Energy Drink's a good card. It makes you harder to hit and deal more damage, essentially. So, I would say that this character is pretty good. Now, because the card that this character starts out with is a great card and it has a lot of synergy potential, I'm going to put them in B tier. Final character is Bach Roadstein. Now, Bach Roadstein has the trait Stuntman, deal a lot more damage when life is below 20%. Now, Bach Roadstein's damage increase is 51%. Now, this means that he's pretty good with most weapons, but with the caveat of being life below 20%, that's pretty bad. For your life to be below 20%, if you have the basic amount of starting health, you would need your life to be at 30. Let's just make some situations here. You have 30 health and your opponent has a lot of health. This guy might be able to turn the tides, but in the end of the day, you're still at 30 health, you're probably going to die. Now, let's just say you're at 30% health and your opponent is also pretty low. You've matched damage the whole round. This guy could clutch up pretty well with that, and his damage is pretty good. But again, that's what he is. He can just clutch and that's it. And the fact that you have to take damage for this guy to be good makes it way worse. Now, here's another thing about this character. If you get to like 30 health or under, you're probably just gonna die in one encounter. You're not gonna be able to like quickly turn the tides because you can just get like 3 taps. Now this means you can't really get a huge advantage early on, and to be fair, this guy just isn't that good. And yeah, sure, you could clutch, but really? Are you gonna clutch at 30 health? That seems like not that much. And again, the 50% damage increase is a lot, I'll admit, but I don't think it's enough to make this character that good, especially with the 20% life. And because of this, I'm gonna put this guy in D tier, same tier as Cararo. And this is the final tier list of characters in Friends vs. Friends, the most recent update of the game at least. Now, you tell me if you agree with my opinions. Again, this is my personal opinion from what I've played in the game. I didn't really look into these guys' stats too much. I don't really know which is like technically the best, but this is how I think the character should be around in a rating system. And I know that this game is so dead, and this video is going to get like 2 views, but it's fun to make, I don't care.